Hey, what's up, YouTubers? This is Angel El Gallito de la Sierra, aka Crypto Keeper. I do the research so that you don't have to. I just read a really good book that I recommend. The title of it is Exactly What to Say. I'm going to put that book through the test today. You know, I haven't done a video in a couple of months, and I apologize. I had told myself that I would be making videos at least once a week during the weekend when I got time. But to be honest with you, things have gotten in the way. I have not been able to do that, and life is always surprising with life events, right? So you understand, I understand, we understand. These kinds of things just come up. But I wanted to jump out here on a limb and go the extra mile with you all for the next 30 minutes, maybe less, and talk a little bit about, you know, the strategies that I use to create wealth. And in no way this is a video about financial advice. It's just education. I like to share what I learned with others because things that I apply in my life, I put through the test. It takes time. But that's the best research. You know, when I listen to others give advice or give education or give whatever it is they're giving on their channel, I take everything with a grain of salt, and I think you should too. And I think you should take whatever I have with a grain of salt. So let's jump right into it. Strategy number 1: wake up early. As you can tell, this video right here, right now, I'm doing in my car. It's still dark outside. It was darker earlier. It took me a little while to convince myself that I wanted to make a video for you all right now. So I've been driving for the last 30 minutes. It's still early in the morning, and as you can see, it's dark. For some people, waking up early is a difficult thing to do. And you know, is that the best strategy for everybody? You know, we often hear people say, hey, if you really want to succeed in life, get up early and go to sleep late. In other words, sleep less, focus on your hours that you are awake when you're least distracted. Focus those hours on something that's going to enrich your life. And that's a good message. That's a message that I have accepted and adopted and practiced for the last 15 years. I'm an early morning person, probably not by any standard of nature, but rather I think practice. Meaning, I have forced myself to be a morning person. I have created my surroundings and my life and my world and my professional career around the morning schedule. Some people, unfortunately, don't have that ability to do that, and so they are probably more night people. And naturally, some people are probably born with being more, with not being a morning person. So again, I'm not saying that your strategy should be wake up early in the morning, hit it hard when you're least distracted. I think the strategy should be that you should just sleep less. That would work because that worked for me. In other words, I don't spend no more than, there's a few times, I'm not gonna lie. There are very few times that I sleep 8 hours in total. But the majority of my time, I'm sleeping, you know, the average, I should say, the average I spend sleeping is about 6 hours. That's it. That's all I feel I need. Yes, sometimes that catches up to me. About every 2 years, when I'm sleeping, sorry about that, folks. My goodness, what happened here? Oh, it's still running. Sorry about that. I'm gonna hold this darn phone because it's kind of hard to do it with, I don't have a device to hold my phone, but in my car. I lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about hours of sleep, and right when the phone fell, I was trying to get my point across, but I think I did. I did that. My point is, if you can cut the number of hours you sleep, and regardless when you choose to sleep, if the hours that you have left in the time that you wake up is more than an hour or two, you can dedicate that time to something that's going to enrich your life, whether that be a walk outside of the neighborhood you live in, or reading a good book, listening to a good song, meditating for 15 minutes, whatever that might be. It is going to choose something, I should say, that is going to benefit you after doing it over and over and over again. So those few things that I've just mentioned, I have practiced, and they do benefit you. So I have not wasted time sleeping, laying in bed, even when I'm not asleep. The minute that I am conscious that I am awake, that I know that I'm just laying in bed and I'm feeling a bit of the struggle of rolling out of my bed, I force myself. I have created habits to help me get out of bed. Okay? And I'm not going to go deep into what kinds of habits you can do. There's lots of books out there, but you all know, I know, we know that all of us enjoy the extra minutes in bed because of how comfortable it is when you are laying there in your bed. So breaking out of that habit is difficult. It's like going into the shower and deciding to choose to only shower with cold water and getting into the habit of showering with cold water for the next 30 days. You know how hard that's going to be? It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very challenging. But that's the point. The point is the challenge. And when you conquer the challenge, how great that feels is, I think, the life-changing moment, or the life-changing moments that no money can buy. And I think that's really kind of what I've learned in my own practice of these types of strategies. So, strategy one, things that contribute to success, is sleep less. Okay? I'm going to move on to the next. The next strategy that I think has really helped me in tremendous ways, not only in accumulating financial wealth, but in ways that I just still don't comprehend. And that is living by a spending rule. Okay, let me say that again. Living by a spending rule that is going to allow for you to become closer and closer to financial freedom. When I first, I got this example from books, from speakers, from motivators, from coaches. Lots of people go out there and tell you. I think a really good book that touches on this subject is, and I've mentioned this book before. Man, I've read so many books in the last 3 months. It's not coming to mind. I think it's, here we go. The Richest Man in Babylon. I can't remember the author of the book because I don't make it a point to really remember the authors. Although I should. I'm just not. The attention that I focus, because I have a hard time memorizing things, is I place most of the attention to the title of the book and the 2 or 3 main learning objectives or concepts of a book. So that book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And I haven't read that book in a couple of years, but I do remember when I read it, what stuck out is some of the stories, but more importantly, the story or the narrative is about living under a financial rule, that a spending rule. In other words, 80-20, right? The 80-20 rule. You live off you earn 80% of your income and you use that 80% to pay all your bills. 10% of that is you give to charity, or you fund something that you just are passionate about, whether that be feeding the homeless or your local faith organization or what have you, right? 10% of that goes to that, and then you take the other 10% and you save it, and that 10% you save it over time, and that 10% accumulates, and perhaps even that 10% you invest it in something, and that 10% every single time you get paid, you invest it, you save it, you put it away for a rainy day. That's the 80-20 rule. 80%, 20% of your income. And at the time that I heard this was like 15 years ago. And I'm thinking, gosh, I was a lot younger then. And I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to save when I'm barely living? Like I'm working to live. I don't got 10% to give, and I don't got even 5% to save. So how am I going to be able to do that? So I wrote out a plan, and I think that's really the key. The key is that you don't have to start at 80-20. You can start at 98% and 2%. And 2% becomes what I save. And in the beginning, 2% might not be that much. For some of you, it might be, and for some of you, it might not. And so the goal, I think, is to create a new habit for yourself. And that's really what I did. That's how I started. 98%, excuse me, and 2% saving. And it took years before I had like a couple $1,000, but I stuck with it. And what I can appreciate the most is it wasn't so much the $2,000 that I saved. It was that I applied this and practiced it for a period of time, that it created a new habit. And then I began to challenge myself. Then I said, okay, how can I throw more into the pot? And that meant that I make adjustments in my life and not do everything I was doing then that spent 100%. So I hope that's not a little confusing, meaning I began to cut things out of my life that were costing me so that I can increase the 2% to 5%, the 5% to 10%, the 10% to 15%, the 15% to 20%, the 20% to 25%, all the way to a 50-50 rule. About 7 years ago, maybe a little more than that, maybe 9 years ago, somewhere there, about that time, hey, I want to show you this driving. Check that out. The fog in my county, it's really interesting, but I live in a county where I get a lot of fog, and so I'm making videos on safely. I shouldn't be doing them this way. Anyhow, I really appreciate the fog. I'm born and raised in this area. I'm native to this area, and so I guess after driving 30 years in this stuff, you acquire some skill sets that I guess I would make you a little bit of a safer driver. I wouldn't call it safer driver. I'd just call it maybe a better driver in these kinds of conditions. Just like the folks that live in areas that have icy roads, those folks probably, if I was driving there doing a video, watch out everybody, because that could be very dangerous. But the same for them, right? The locals are going to drive in those roads a lot better, a lot safer than I would. And I don't know why I went there, but anyhow, okay, let's get back on track. 80-20 rule, 50-50 rule. I went from a 98% 2% rule to eventually writing. It was eight years ago, I think. I want to say like 8 or 9 years ago. I told myself 50-50 rule is going to be my goal, and I'm going to stick by it no matter how hard that is. And it's hard. It is very hard. I wouldn't have been able to get there if I started with that goal right off the bat. If I started with 50-50 rule as a goal, I don't think I would have achieved it the way that I achieved it now, because I was able to start small and I was able to realize a goal after, several years, and making adjustments and increasing that goal to a point where now this 50-50 rule is something that has allowed for me to become much more conscious of what financial freedom really feels like. And so I had to start with cutting debt. I had to start with cutting even addictions. I was a drinker. I was a smoker. I grew up with those things as part of my culture, as part of my upbringing, as part of my community, and it plagues so many people. But I was so fortunate, by the grace of God, to cold turkey stop smoking, stop using drugs, and stop drinking alcohol just like that. By the Spirit of God, I was able to just cold turkey, no help, no programs, just a divine intervention to stop. And I did. But the motivator really was also that I saw that kind of stuff not only destroying my professional and personal life, but I was able to reflect on how expensive. And even then, I've been sober 10 years. And even then, how expensive that habit or those habits were for me. Even if it was social drinking and social smoking and social drug use. Because I considered myself I considered my addictions to be more socially led. So it is possible. I had the strength, and I was able to conquer that, and I feel so good about that. And again, I feel so good about that for me, because it got me closer to my goal. If it wasn't for my goal being written down, being something that I see every day, reading it in my planner, looking at it, breathing it, eating it, feeling it, focusing on it, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I'm at today. So I wanted to point that out, that it takes baby steps and small steps, but stick with it. I started this journey 15 years ago, and for a man who was born in a poor neighborhood, in a community of farm workers, and in a neighborhood that the 1% of that entire community went onward to college and studied and focused and learned and just went from one point of success to another point of success is very, very unheard of. Many of the people that grow up in my community to this day, the statistics are so low of those who end up in leadership positions, in management positions, in college, in those types of careers, or that type of job that offers the opportunity for you to earn a decent living. It is unheard of. Many of them end up in gangs, in prison, in jail. They end up addicted to hardcore drugs like heroin. I mean, I look at my community and it just devastates me to see my own people hurt, my own people struggle. And you could blame it on whatever you want to blame it. I don't give a damn. I had to decide, you know what? I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to say that it's the system. I'm not going to say that it's this, that, or the other. I'm just going to say, you know what? Nothing is going to stop me. I'm going to focus on this stuff. I'm going to move forward. Whatever happened to me back then, whatever struggles I went through, I'm going to use that as positive energy to get me to move forward, not backward. When I fall, I'm going to fall forward. I'm going to eat dirt and dust, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep running forward. And so I channel all of those struggles of life as positive energy to get me to the next level. And so, that's another, so let me segue there for a little bit. And I'm going to probably end here with this last point. So, I've talked about, I started this video with sleeping less. Have a plan is the second point. Write a plan, a financial plan, a plan that is realistic to you. Start there and then begin to just focus on it. You might fall off a little bit on that plan because life hits you with so many challenges, and life is just unfair. But look at it from a different perspective. Everything that life throws at you is meant to lift you up, to make you bold, to make you strong, to give you a message, okay? Give you a message. I believe that. And so, again, have a plan, have a financial plan. Look at where you can cut on stuff. Look at where you can save a little bit. And even if I think, I'm going to say this because I think this is important. If you could take 1% of your income, 1%, or even 0.5%. So if you earn $1,000 and you took 1% of that $1,000 and you took that, I think it's $10, right? You took that $10 and you gave it to somebody. Okay? Listen to this very carefully. If you made $1,000 in your paycheck, I'm talking that's what you got paid, that's what you're taking home. I'm not talking about taxes and all the other stuff that they take out. I'm talking about the amount of money you receive. If you get $1,000 a check and you took 1% of that, which is $10, and you took that $10 and you gave it away. Give it away to charity. Give it away in, you can give it away in so many different ways. You can go buy, a case of sodas or a case of waters and go out on the street and hand them out to, 15 people, however many you get. You buy a little bit of food and you give that away. If that's the way you want to give it away, that's still giving. In other words, give. Give wherever you can give. And, I would challenge you. Maybe give to an organization you don't appreciate very much. I'm not atheist, but let's say I gave $10 to a organization that teaches atheism, right? Give it. Just give it. Give it for the sake of just giving. It's going to change you. I guarantee it, it's going to change you. And so I started doing that. I started giving. I'd buy groceries for a family that I found out that was in huge need. I buy clothing. I give out clothing. I give out shoes. I give out bikes. I give out turkeys. I give out, oh man, it puts a smile on my face. The things that I give, some of them very unorthodox, in unorthodox ways. I just give random. Sometimes I don't want to go there, but it brings me a lot of joy. And I feel that because of my giving, because of my heart, the way it's changed my life, I accumulate more. More is given to me. Let me just share this with you. I don't know how to explain it, but not too long ago, I went out to eat to celebrate a family member. And that family member accomplished something great. And we all got together. They invited us, right? But it had a condition. Hey, we're inviting all of the family to dinner at a restaurant, but the restaurant's kind of pricey, and everybody has to pay their own meal. That was the condition. And most of you might say, well, in the family, they love to gossip and talk, and they were like, it was bouncing around like, well, they're pretty well, their finances are well. Why are they inviting us and we have to pay? Why does everybody have to pay their own plate? I didn't really care. I was okay with that. Hey, it's cool. Can they afford to pay for everybody that was there? It was like 15 of us. Sure. But they elected not to. And that's their right. You don't have to pay for people that get invited to dinner all the darn time, right? But we're used to that. We're used to that. So let me tell you this. We're there. We're all having a great time. We're all eating. And the waitress comes and she's checking around with everybody. They knew that they were going to do like split bill. Well, they didn't know that they were going to do split bills. And I asked her, hey, excuse me, can you come right here real quick? And I whispered in her ear. I gave her my card and I told her, take care of the bill. The entire bill. Almost $1,000. I hardly ever do that. But I was rejoicing because, man, I am so blessed financially that $1,000 to me in that moment, it was I can afford to do that. And I just said, why not? And I started to think about my brother-in-law, who was the person that invited us. I started to think, all the kind things this man has done for me, all the kind things he has done for my family over the course of our relationship as brother-in-laws. This was the least that I could do for him. It was him who had invited us. And so anyhow, it wasn't a repayment, but it was, hey, you know what? In the moment, my heart was pressed to do that, and I listened to my heart, and I did it. Well, here's I know you guys are probably going to think, man, this guy's making this stuff up, but you can't make this stuff up. 2 weeks later after I did that, unexpectedly, another member of my family randomly, I don't know how to explain it, randomly, they blessed me with a $20,000 gift. You're probably thinking like, what? No way. That's not true. I'm telling you, God is my witness. I wouldn't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Blessed with $20,000 cash. Well, in a cashier's check. I shouldn't say cash. And I took that. When somebody blesses you, I'm not the type of person that says, oh, no, you don't have to do that. If you tell me, hey, I'm going to bless you with $1,000 here, and you take it out of your pocket, I'm going to take your money. If you bless me with a gold ring, I'm going to take it. If you bless me with a bag of food, I'm going to take it. I'm never going to deny somebody's blessing, because I'm not going to rob them from their blessing. And that's really what I want to say, is that when you give and somebody denies that gift, that person essentially robs you from your blessing. Now, at the time that I did that, when I paid for that meal, my brother-in-law found out, kind of, because he was sitting right next to me, and he said, hey, Angel, I think I don't know what you got going on, but you don't have to do that. And I said, hey, brother, I want to do it. No worries, man. Genuinely, from my heart, dude, I want to do it. It's all good. I want to take care of the bill. You guys can take care of the tip. And that was it. That was the end of it. He didn't say, no, I'm not going to let you do that. He understood. He understood that even though I didn't have to, we understand the philosophy of giving. He who that gives also is given. And not necessarily monetarily, right? Like, I just feel I was given monetarily, but hey, that's great. I wasn't expecting that. Now, think about the times over. That's really what I want to drive here. I gave, and what was given to me was 20 times or 19 times the amount of what I gave. 19 times over. I don't know what else to say. All I can tell you is I hope this helps you. I think many people should start there. Start giving and watch. I mean, over and over and over. I have never outgave. I'll say I have never outgave God, because this is divine. Who does that? Who puts in their heart to say, hey, of all of my family members, I'm going to come to you, because she didn't do this to everybody. Now, she's a wealthy woman, and she can do that to everybody if she wants and still afford to live well. She has a lot of grandkids. I'm one of them. But she has great grandkids and grandkids and kids of her own, and she's lived a long life, and she's enjoying her life now. But who does that? Who gives you 20 grand just like that for no reason? Only God, I feel, only God can explain that. And that is, okay, so let me wrap it up with this. This is kind of a long video, but it's very interesting. This is what I think does it. When you give, you call upon the giving to yourself. There's an energy, I feel, that when you are positive and you are good, like a good human, and you are focused and you are wise and you are all these things, and no negativity really brings you down, you attract. If I give, I attract those givers. In other words, people that give are giving to people that give. People that are like sour and bitter, and they will say, no, I can't afford to give. I'll never give. People don't deserve my giving. Those people hardly ever, at least in my book, I've never seen it, are given in abundance. I've never seen it. Those people are the ones suffering through so much grief, so much pain. They got pennies in their pocket, nothing in the bank account, struggling month to month because they attract that stuff. I've attracted freedom. I have attracted financial freedom. I have attracted givers. I've attracted opportunity. I've attracted careers that were handed to me. I've attracted good, better than fair paying wages. I've attracted so many things, man. I can go on and on and on, give a list, but I won't. But anyhow, I'm arriving to my destination. I want to just say, man, I pray for you that these words that I pray that you have an open mind, that these words fall on good soil, good ground, meaning they fall deep down into your spirit, into your heart, and that maybe you give this a try. I guarantee it, you're not going to regret it. It's going to be hard. It's going to take time. What isn't these days? But I guarantee it. I hope that you give it a try, and let me know. I'll be around for a while. I hope I don't die soon. I'm not sick, so I feel like I can live another 10 years without any problems. And so I'll be around. And I hope one day we'll put a conference together where you guys can come by. We can meet in person. I am planning something like that. It's going to be centered around crypto talk. It's good to socialize. It's good to meet other people that are doing phenomenal things that are probably different than the way I do it. And that's how I think we grow a community out of the bondage of social pressures that we are faced today with. So God bless. See you in the next one. Aquí el gallito de la sierra, el Kikiri Kicks, checking out. Take care. Bye.